what forms of untouchability is being practiced in the village council? Some of them have already been mentioned in the previous discussion, but I just want to raise again. Because you are a woman and you are a Dalit, you are not allowed to sit on the chair. How dare you? You are not allowed to enter the office. You are not allowed to enter the village council office. Then how can you sit on the chair? There have been cases where when people finish their term as village head or as a member of the village council, they've been asked to wash the chair because you have defined the chair. Yeah. So I'm just wondering how it could be possible in this 21st century, but it is still happening. The other issues are that everybody would be sitting on the chair. There are women who still sit on the floor. There are women who cannot hold meetings. They can't take decisions for the development of the village. Forget about their own community. They are not allowed to effectively represent their village in the local bodies meetings. And we have the local village council is basically governed by the village head, but she needs support from the revenue officer, who is always in the command of the dominant caste. So he would never give any kind of support to the woman, because ultimately their aim is that the woman should leave the office. And this is perpetuated in severe forms. And the inability of the woman to perform as the head of the village also creates an image of the Dalits. The Dalits can never govern. They can never hold a political position because they have been subjugated and they are one of the lowest communities, and they are being born to be dependent on the others, on the dominant caste. And I would also like to say that India is claimed as one of the largest democratic countries. But we also know that the caste politics rules the entire governance of India. So your caste makes you powerful, and your caste also makes you powerless. Your entire identity runs around the whole image of whether you can rule an office or whether you can't rule an office. And many people raise this question that how could you identify a person that is a Dalit or not? But in India, we are given caste certificates. And when you go in the villages, because your houses are segregated from the others, it's immediately recognized that this person is from the Dalit. And then when you enter the mainstream, you would like to enter in the mainstream, your knowledge is not given importance. Your education is not given importance, but your caste identity, your gender identity is even more important.
Let's try to be strategic. I'm going to ask if, and I know there are lots of personal stories in this room, but if you will forbear from telling your personal stories, forbear from telling what the situation is for women in your country, and focus instead on giving some concrete recommendations of what might help, very specifically. That might be a useful way to proceed. Just very quick, very concrete ways. We've had a suggestion put on the floor about networks and networking among minority women around the world. Give me another one like that. Let me see your hands. What else would help? Yes.
Transnational coalitions.
Transnational coalitions, okay. Anybody else?
Community intervention, I guess.
Community intervention?
Especially when we focus on the life of the woman, we need to tackle the man actually, especially in politicians.
Okay. Okay. Let me hear from you.
Empowering the youth, because we need capacity building for the youth so that they can actually tackle these issues and they can participate.
Okay, now empowering the youth, capacity building. Okay? Yes?
I think that international partnerships with different women all over the world is really a very dynamic thing to do to bring about more awareness from other parts of the world about how they utilize different techniques from minority rights.
Yes, please.
In 2009, there's still too many male gatekeepers in key institutions, processes, from local government right to the top to the international level. We should speak them up.
How did we do that?
That's what we're going to discuss.
Yeah, well,
Storm
let
the
me
Bastille. It will take a combination of strategy and tactics, but it needs to happen urgently.
Okay? Yes.
We should encourage women to vote for women. I
Yes.
mean, I think there's a real,
I said, yes, please.
We could put together an international curriculum model or module that could be utilized in educational systems that focus on the success stories of minority women and achieving various mechanisms of human rights and women's rights around the world.
Okay? Good idea? In the back?
One, I think we need a mentorship program. So for young women who want to enter politics, if we can have women in politics on the mentor us. And the second one is better training for media. I think that women who run for office tend to get, their focus is a lot more on what they're dressing, how they speak, as opposed to actually substantive policy issues.
Okay. Okay. So we have a day for the Speak Women in Power are going to have, and we're going to ask everybody to speak out on March 8th about minority women getting more access to political participation in every country. We're going to talk about what's happening to Dalit women, and we're going to supply everybody with talking points on that. We're going to talk about what's happening to women like Sophia in Kenya, and we're going to supply everybody with talking points. So wherever you are, you can get these talking points. They're going to be on the minority rights groups website, and you can just access those talking points, put out your statement and make your calls and move your action. We want to see some days of street demonstrations on behalf of women in political positions from minority communities on March 8th. Are we all agreed on that? All right, thank you very much.